Welcome you to Porch Talk. This is your host, Alan. We're at Al Spirits and Music, closed on Sundays. Sadbath just gave us a four-song set. Lucie, Tyler, hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Just out the gate, this was on recommendation by a friend of mine, Elliot Devon. And, of course, she sent me the Instagram handle, and I was kind of looking into. I mean, you're more than a musician. Both of you are more than musicians, other hats in the arts. And I was like, okay. So I didn't really dig a whole lot into the music aspect of it because a lot of times I like to just be surprised,
Mm-hmm.
pleasantly surprised. Thank y'all so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, absolutely.
So, give us a recap on the weekend. Left North Alabama to kind of be here in kind of West Alabama. So, tell us about the
It's been
weekend.
a whole Alabama weekend. We had a great show at the Lava Room.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for helping with that. Um, Elliot Devon played, and Greenbrier played, and Elliot stole some of the Greenbrier folks and had herself a full band.
Hey,
It was great.
It was
They
awesome.
rocked out.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a really cute little town. I was really pleasantly surprised. I didn't dig too much as far as Florence, Alabama goes, and I was also pleasantly surprised.
I haven't been. I graduated high school in 2009, and a couple friends of mine that graduated a few years before, they ended up at UNA, which is in Florence,
Mm-hmm.
and we would go up there to visit. But what Florence was then is not what it is now. Like they have I don't know if y'all had a chance to check it out. I think it's kind of close to the Lava Room, but they have Graffiti Alley, and I think just as a whole, like that town has kind of grown more, and it's kind of developing more of an art scene. Which North Alabama, in and of itself, is you have Florence, most shows, which I mean you have Fame, and then you have Huntsville, and that whole like northern half of Alabama right now is like powerhouse. You know, like Alabama Shakes, Brittany Howard, she's from Florence.
Yeah.
That's where that's where that sound came from.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
But it's good to see that like Florence is kind of moving.
Getting on the map a little bit. Yeah, I haven't really spent. I mean, I grew up in Mississippi, have never lived anywhere else. Surprisingly, have just not really spent a whole lot of time in Alabama. I had a grandmother who lived in Louisiana, so we would go there a lot. But yeah, Alabama is beautiful, and you get to like the tiny little hills that are like starting the foothills of Blue Ridge Mountains, and like it's just all. And right now, especially like spring, driving down here on Easter Sunday, that was pretty cool. Seeing everybody like getting out of church, and flooding the every single Mexican restaurant that we passed by was packed.
Yeah.
Packed out.
That's one thing that Alabama and Mississippi share.
Hey man, them Mexican restaurants are keeping these economies alive.
Straight
Dude,
up. You got the.
I'm telling you, like Columbus, I think they're up to like 20 now. Like,
Wow.
and every time like there's spark of a we're getting a new restaurant, and like, okay, so over under on it being a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. That's great.
But I mean,
Good food.
hey,
Our economy coming.
each one is kind of a little bit, kind of a different flavor.
I know.
Like I go there for the sauce.
Mm.
The chips are better.
Mhm.
You know, whatever. You know.
So
competition.
in Mississippi, our thing is fried catfish. Is there something similar for Alabamans?
Connect a sausage.
Okay.
That was invented here, and then y'all went through FET, which is Golden Eagle
Golden
syrup.
Eagle syrup. My
He
favorite.
got so excited about
Oh
that.
man, I stopped and took a picture of that mural. My grandma used to put a big dollop of butter on her Golden Eagle and mix it up for biscuits.
That's it.
That's the way to do
That's
it.
just it. So, guys, tell me a little bit about where you're from.
The old Jacktown. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi.
Proper?
Yeah, born in South Jackson, and then kind of grew up. My parents moved to like kind of North Fondren area when I was a kid, and both my parents are practicing artists. And so I was just kind of brought up in like the visual art world. Have been painting from a very young age. Went to Mississippi School of Arts in Brookhaven, Mississippi, which is just a gem. Anyone who has teenagers that are thinking about it, I just like sing MSA's praises because like to have a public school, a boarding school for the arts in the Deep South is just, I mean, it's kind of an anomaly and churns out so much talent. It's insane. So my younger brother, who's also a musician and a painter, he also went there, and yeah, it's just I feel like I've been able to just kind of stay in Jackson and have everything that I need. I've got a
Absolutely.
great community there. I've got people who support me that play with me. Um, Tyler has been in Jackson for a long time.
My adult life.
Yeah,
I grew up in Pearl.
his purple.
Okay.
Don't hold that against me. Yeah, I spent like 3 years in Portland, Oregon after college, and then I came back here. Mississippi has a way of sort of boomeranging people, or maybe the Deep South in general. I know
I
several
think
people.
more Mississippi,
Yeah, more Mississippi probably.
and I would love to get into this with y'all. Is like you were speaking highly of it, and like I praise it a lot. Where I grew up is about 15 minutes north of here.
Uh-huh.
And so, like this town, like the Jacks, is where we would go in the mornings, get biscuits, whatever, especially Saturdays, whatever. But after I graduated college and started working out Columbus, and now I'm in Starville, and then I started getting more involved in the arts. And that was when I really started digging into the history of Mississippi, not only with the blues and everything that the blues did for music, but also driving down to say Bentonia to see Jimmy Duck Holmes and the Blue Front Cafe, going over to Clarksdale or even Jackson with all its rich history and just all over the state is uh, Mississippi has a way of there's just something in the air, but it also has something that a lot of artists complain about that causes them to move is they call it the brain drain. Is
How would you define the brain drain?
So it is a great way to cultivate and nurture your craft, your art, but you're not going to be able to make it in Mississippi, so therefore you have to leave. But that boomerang effect is after artists leave and they kind of find their way and they kind of find their niche
Mm-hmm.
because the cost of living is so cheap. If they can do it remotely, they come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think that's pretty accurate. I have a well, I think I would put it in. This is total conjecture. I don't know if this is true or not, but from my perspective, it feels as though that these big cities with these big economies are basically just a big psyop, big capital. What they do is they siphon off talent from these rural places,
Oh, absolutely.
so that our economies suffer. All the talent goes to these bigger places where you can make it. Now, define make it. To me, make it means waking up making music. I can do that anywhere. In fact, I think that type of thing is like always with you no matter where you are. And there's also something to this great contradiction of scarcity being a sort of catalyst for creativity and making something out of nothing. And I don't like. I remember when I lived in Portland, there was something to do every night. There was a bar to go to. There was a show to go to. There was some place to go out and get inspired. And I think that's great. I think that's what a lot of artists need. They need to be fed inspiration.
Mhm.
You're very much like in a big city. You're very much on input mode. You're getting stuff. When you're in a place like this small town, even when you're in a place like or Florence last night or wherever, you're in output mode and you're constantly in a situation where it's like, what are you doing, and who are you doing it for, and I think of that a lot, being in Mississippi and being and feeling fulfilled and feeling like, there used to be this conversation that would happen on the West Coast every time you'd meet somebody that's, well, where are you going to move to next? No one ever liked where they were. It was always this like cat and mouse game of chasing some new place. And not to say I'm not arguing for complacency at all, but I think when you have stability and your cost of living is less, and the shows and the things that you do musically or artistically, in a smaller place goes so much further. Goes so much further on the people who hear it, the people who are there for it. Um, you can be, you know, someone doing something in the middle of nowhere, and to me that is so purposeful. You know, like that gives you meaning.
It's not
And
just a drop in the bucket. Like you're
Yeah.
making.
and not unlike what you're doing here in this shop with clothes on Sunday and stuff. It's very inspiring, and you know, kudos to you. Congrats on
Well,
all
man,
this.
a lot of
Very
that
cool.
was learned. I've been doing Porch Talk since 2019, and when COVID hit, uh, there wasn't no shows, there was nothing going, and so and I made a record. I'll get y'all a copy of it.
Great.
But I did a COVID record to where I traveled all over the South. I did Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee, and I traveled and like we would record whatever the musicians were comfortable. It was during the height of COVID, and we would sit out in garages, kitchens, whatever, and these were field recordings that I was with these mics,
Mm-hmm.
and I made a record. Like this is what the South sounded like during COVID,
Yeah, I'd love to.
I would love to.
and the guy that did the artwork for it, he also has a song on it, is a Partridge.
Mm.
He's a folk singer songwriter. He's a folk artist, and now he's a song collector. He is a big part of putting a positive light on snake handler churches
Interesting.
and their music and how
Yeah.
rock and roll it actually is. It's like it's
Absolutely.
more rock and roll than rock and roll.
It
You're
really
speaking
is.
his language
Yeah,
right now.
we're getting into it now. Yeah, there's a lot to that. You know, these little subcultures that pop up and are really kind of operating on their own rules and their own terms.
Absolutely.
Maybe because of isolation, but it's extremely real and human. And you know, if you're in LA, good luck trying to find something unpretentious, right? Like musically, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much there that surely there's some good authentic stuff going on, but there's also so much there that's saturated with just
Like everyone has to claw their way to the
yeah,
top.
and it affects the product of the work you're doing. It affects the end result of the thing you're making.
Mhm.
And when you're in these little pockets of isolation, and people are in their own little subcultures, and they have their own little ways of doing things, like it you know, it's a traditional art. It's a traditional art form. It's folk art effectively, and you know these types of spiritual happenings in these churches and things like that. I mean, just insane stuff.
I highly recommend. It's called the Alabama Astronaut. Not
Yeah.
like on y'all's way to Jackson.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Absolutely,
Check it
I'd
out.
love to check
And
it out.
I'll send you the link. But one thing, when I was down in Mobile, I just hit him up on a whim, and you know, God only knows where he would be right now if it wasn't for COVID, because his art with music was going, and then COVID hit, and it was like zero. You know, it went from we're getting there to nothing.
Yeah.
And that was the case for a lot of these guys. But one thing that he told me while we were sitting in the garage and recording and just hanging out, and he was trying to get a grasp on like what my vision was for the podcast and like me collecting these songs and like just trying to expose like the South to the world in a different light.
Mhm.
And he said, consider this. He says, I have an art club and we have 100 openings. Now, typically we float anywhere from 85 to 100. But he said, if I have 100 people that support and I'm providing them a product monthly and they're really into what I'm doing, I only need 100. And so that was my mindset with like whether it was my music, whether it was my art, whether it was this podcast, the festival, and for whatever that event is or whatever I'm doing, I have a different number for it. Like for the festival, it's like if I have 1,000 people that will show up and give to this,
Mm-hmm.
I will do it every year.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm not
successful.
and I'm not and like and when I'm talking about it with friends and we're talking about growth, it's like it's kind of like what you're talking about. Is like I'm satisfied. Like we're doing what I envisioned, and everybody that comes and takes part and believes in it and like is a part of it is like, what do you need? And you know, like with the YouTube channel, with my music, with all that, it's like I've got what I need, you know. And the people that know about it, yeah, we might catch another one here or there. Somebody will tell somebody. It might hop up on somebody's feet, but like I'm able to create art and share other people's art for my audience, which in turn is like kind of opens up the world a little bit to other people.
Yeah.
And that's my mission statement and go, which it kind of helps propel and it morphs and evolves and like we begin to explore like I'm not a fan of a big city, and so like, I don't want to be in a big city. Like Jackson can freak me out, and it's really not that big of a place, but like
Yeah.
it's big for me. Birmingham freaks me out. It's not that big of a place, but like I'm into small towns,
Mhm.
and I'm into like bringing art and culture to them.
Well,
Yeah.
and just a tragic thought that it's been normalized to run away from these communities
Well,
that are
the-
deserving of all
Man,
that.
That being
on
in a
y'all's
small
on y'all's
town is
on
not
y'all's drive,
successful.
and like I'm sure you did it with intent. Like pop the GPS in, the address
Hmm.
and the route you took. I mean,
Yeah.
how many towns did you go through to where there was like, I bet back in the '60s or '70s there was so much life
Uh-huh.
here, but now it's just
yeah.
No, for sure. We were riding on one little road, and it was like, this looks like it hasn't changed since the 50s.
Mhm.
Like, there's this,
Mhm.
80-year-old looking fence,
Yeah.
and little restaurants that have all been grown over, and yeah, there was definitely like there's evidence of an economy and of a population, and people just leave in record numbers or stay here, and then the youngins go, and then there's nobody else to hang
and
out.
like culturally, and I think it happens with bigger cities, like in different communities. Like a lot of people would say, like that Fondren area in Jackson, like a lot of people would classify it as, well, that's a classic case of gentrification. It's like with the businesses coming in and what they're doing. I don't necessarily agree with that concept. Uh, Greensboro, Alabama, it's just about an hour south of here.
Mm-hmm.
They're known for catfish, just much like Mississippi is. It's a catfish town. It's more than that. They have antebellum homes. It's very historical.
Mm-hmm.
Those homes are dirt cheap. Like you can have a practical mansion for nothing.
Yeah,
And so a lot of
I was
artists,
looking at Florence homes on
Mhm.
Zillow
Yeah,
when
and,
we were
and,
driving around.
and so like a lot of artists, like and like we're artists, so we don't have a lot of money, by the way, guys. And so, but like they are moving to these small towns, and they're moving into those places, and like they're creating house shows, and the downtown scene is like they're renting out those buildings that are now owned by banks or the city itself, and creating art. And I was like, that's the same. And
That's
I
what
was
we
like, I don't
need, yeah.
consider that to be gentrification. Like,
No.
it's just
You're making use of what you got.
Gentrification, I would define it as like when you push a population that's already there
out.
out. What I want to do in Jackson is give the population that is there something to do.
Yep.
Some level of hope in their present reality, some type of, oh, I don't have to leave this place in order to
Yeah.
do something remarkable or valuable or noteworthy.
And like all growing up, all of my friends wanted to leave. That was like every answer to any kind of. So what's your plan after high school? Get the fuck out of here! Like,
And they probably would be as simple as like, well, just hang me up a map, and I'll just throw a dart anywhere would be
like
better
literally
than here.
anywhere but here. And I don't know if it's how I was raised or and I am very grateful and very blessed to have a very supportive family, and that is truly like so caring. It makes everyone's heart bleed. But I knew from a very young age that I didn't feel the need to find some other place. Like I really do find a lot of fulfillment just being in Mississippi and being able to walk outside my door and like see this lush landscape, as a painter, as a writer, as someone who enjoys nature, like to be able to be in a city, that has a growing, bustling little arts movement, to be able to have that and drive 45 minutes to a pond out in Bolton and just like have nobody around.
Mhm.
You know, that's something that I don't think I could ever really truly give up. You know, it's a great place to have a foundation. It is cheaper to live in Mississippi, and because we're there and we're not like spending tons of money to just be, we're able to travel up here or go. We just last weekend we went to the Big Ears Music Festival in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is another thing that I sing praises for all the time, because that is like the amount of the amount of insanely wonderful music and crazy good players that are coming, that are all convening in the South and doing something that never doesn't really happen anywhere else, like collaboration, on the spot improvising.
Mhm.
It's all happening in this whirlwind, but it's all like orchestrated so well, and with the full cooperation of the city of Knoxville. So you're seeing all these beautiful musicians play, and you're getting to experience it in a church that's decked out with the best stained glass and in
It's
a
right down your
historic
alley.
yeah, no, it's crazy, like to see Jessica Pratt in a beautiful old theater in Tennessee. People skip over Jackson so much because we don't really have, I feel like we don't really have the full cooperation of the city the way that other towns
Or we
do.
don't really have an economy.
We
for
don't.
it.
Yeah, there's just. I mean,
There's a lot of sound guys. You want to make a living somewhere, go to Mississippi and be a sound guy, because we have none, and we have a couple of really
everybody's
good
in
ones
high
that are in really
demand.
high demand. But the way it is really inspiring to see Knoxville work with the festival, and all the different venues and churches, and the whole community really opens up, and it's within driving distance for us. So I mean, all of our small town passion should be served up with the caveat that we love to also travel and see things, and
Oh yeah.
I don't think being isolated is necessarily the move, but
No, I've learned like, so I didn't go to college after high school because COVID hit right after I graduated. I'd like taken a gap year and was on the path to going, and then just like kind of had a gut feeling and was like, I'm gonna wait. And then COVID hit, and I was like, wow, really glad I didn't spend $46,000 for a year of college that I would not have been able to
your Zoom
attend.
calls would have
Yeah, that would have been awful. So like instead, I've always, since I was a teenager, I've been able to, this is where the Jackson community really comes in. Like I've been able to work with artists that I admire and like have apprenticeships with people, and that is how like my pace of life is just so much slower than, I don't know, it's a Mississippi pace, and so I like to take information in chunks and see how far I can get with that, and then when I need more, I come back for more. And so like college was kind of a thing that just felt a little overwhelming to me, and I need like, my practice needs space, and I know that, and so I've just been trying to like maintain that, but being able to travel and do all of that, like that always does so much for my work and for our work. And so like the Big Ears Music Festival, like going to that 2 years in a row, like there is a significant difference in what we sounded like before we went and versus when we came back.
Yeah,
and
it's
even
like
even this recent trip, like we started making stuff that's like, oh, okay, like that's something that we can do.
Yeah, it's important to put yourself in that input mode sometimes. Especially, it's like part of the self-preservation of being in a small town. Like you got to really take care of your input. You got to be inspired. You got to go find some work to be inspired by. Sometimes you can find that in your backyard. Sometimes you have to drive to Knoxville. But I'm a big believer in that, and it's being exposed, like taking trips to New York and going to some major art museums, like that will change your life. Do that. But
Yeah, art
bring
and culture
that
is
back
incredibly
to
important.
bring that back to your hometown. Like bring that energy to a place that could really use it, or or could really use some creative energy around all kinds of problems, right? Like, um, yeah, and it's not that you can't. Yeah, I don't know. It's not that you can't like live in a nice big city. I think a lot of times people need that, and I'm not knocking people who need that, but
And I'm sure we both would do really
yeah,
well
I
in a
just
big
think
city.
that
But
I mean I'm just an advocate for those who don't have, you know, and it just feels like it goes really far to do things in places where there's just not a lot of that thing, you know. We're improvisers. We love to play free improvised music, and like Lucy mentioned, there's a network of those sort of players around the world, and we meet so many incredible players through that scene who are coming through Jackson and saying like, I need a spot, and
yeah,
it's like,
just because we're staying put and doing what we do where
Right.
we're doing it.
right. You don't like leave a void where something else would be there or something you just wouldn't. It's if you're there. One thing I remember kind of learning a couple of years ago is that when you're not in a place, it's like the worst version of the things that you're afraid of happen, you know? But when you are in a place, it's like you get to tell your story in the best way that you know how. Sure, right? Um, if you're not there, someone else is telling your story. That ain't a good thing.
No, you need to speak for yourself. And I'll tell you, like with Porch Fest, it called it a Porch Talk. That was the name of the show. My old house in Kennedy, where I'm from, we had a huge porch on the back, and that's like where the earlier episodes took place, and that's where the music festival started. And this is a town with less than 1,000 people, and I would have musicians come from Illinois or all over the South and Birmingham or all over Mississippi, and for a weekend, people would camp out in my house, and I would get food trucks to come out to my house and cook, and we did that for 2 years. And a buddy of mine, Ryan Munson, who has Munson Brothers in downtown Columbus, Mississippi, he was like, I think you should consider moving to Mississippi. And then I started the nonprofit for it. That way we could apply for grants and get some funding behind it. Because like that's a big thing to me is like I don't want to just pay musicians. I want to handsomely pay them for their time. Because like I'm a musician and I'm an artist myself, and it's like we were talking about Saturn before and how great their green room is. It's like, okay, we're gonna invest in this, and we're gonna do right by people, because like we want to set the standard for how people are to be treated, and we don't want them to feel taken advantage of. We're gonna pay them well for their art and their time.
Especially in a place that's culturally very much about taking advantage of people's
Yeah.
labor,
And so like with Porch, this will be the third year, fourth in Columbus, and Visit Columbus is behind us. Like they give a lot of money towards it. They do a lot of social media. Like this is something. Columbus has a festival. Market Street, it's huge, but like Porch Fest is quickly becoming like, if you want some music, come to Porch Fest, and like it's becoming like Columbus's festival for music.
That's a beautiful thing.
But Market Street is more of like, they have music, they have the art vendors. It's more of like a what you would think about if you were from there, and like,
Sure.
this is what we do.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at just more people hearing about it. Is I'm expanding the board on my nonprofit. I'm going to step down as president and fill the board up and put people in the positions where they need to be. Is like, cause Visit Mississippi is interested, and like when they put out the pamphlets on the interstates, and when you come into the state, like Porch Fest could be in that pamphlet. And I was like, we could get those grants, and we could be a part of like why you should come to Mississippi. You come for Porch Fest in April, like it's cool.
Yeah.
But like, I can't wear all those hats, and like I'm
It's a lot-
I'm
it's
not
a
the
lot,
grant.
right?
I can write a grant. I've written and I've gotten
It's
grants, but
it's
like
hard work.
it's not me.
I
Like
don't enjoy it.
The other side of this coin is knowing your limits.
yeah,
And saying no to things.
Yeah.
And preserving your peace.
Yeah.
You have a lot of liberty here to do that, but you really do have to do that. And if you're in that hustle mindset, saying yes to everything may work in a place that has all these
True.
opportunities, you know, when you're carrying the weight of a community musically or whatnot, like, and you're like one of the only people doing that thing, like, you really do have to check yourself, make sure you're okay. You know,
It's easy to do too much.
It is easy to do.
It's because there's not
There's
very
so
many
much to
people
do.
doing it.
There's so much.
And we saw that kind of with, like, we were really excited that the folk festival came to Jackson, Mississippi, and it's going to be here for 2 years. And it was beautiful. It was insane. And I think that, like, that kind of thing typically happens in a place where there are more people to volunteer for it. And we just don't have the people for it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we
so
pulled it off. It was phenomenal.
really wonderful.
But we were just
but
like,
I think that everybody who was involved was like everybody was really spread thin, and that kind of thing like inevitably leads to a little bit of resentment, or you know, feeling like, oh, I have to do all of this, and which is tough. And I guess that is the same kind of brain drain situation where people are leaving.
Yeah, back to that brain drain. Yeah, and exactly. I mean, like with this year is, and I say it every year after Porch Fest. Like I'll get up on stage last night after the last act. Guys, hope you enjoyed it. This was our last one.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm spent, man.
Yeah, no, it's I can't even imagine.
And
we host house shows, and like that is like feeling you got to take care of everybody, and so when you're inviting everyone into your space, you got to make sure that they're all covered and that the musicians are comfortable. Like that's a huge operation, and so like kudos to that. But yeah, I understand why you would want to say.
And I kept this one like close to my chest, and like as far as the marketing and everything, like I had people like, oh shit, it is the last one. Like he's not doing it again, and I announced it. I think in January, which usually I announce in November. Like November and April is like when I really kind of turn things on. Like November I start announcing, and then all the marketing and everything goes into April.
Nice.
And I didn't do it. And then I had people in December and January was like, oh, you were serious? Not cool, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, last year I thought I was gonna die. You know, I was like, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. I thought my brain was gonna explode. Like, I know both of those things probably irrational, but I was like, I can't keep doing this, man. And then and out of that came so many more people. It's like, we get it.
Yeah.
Like, what can we do? What can we do?
And that's what like that the art of asking for help is an art.
And it's hard to do. And it wasn't even like my pride. It was like I just didn't even know how to.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to ask.
How do you delegate? Like.
Yeah, it's part of the challenge of being, you know, a mover and a shaker in a small town. Like it's part of the challenge of like doing anything important is organizing and knowing how to do that. Well, if you have a bunch of people around that know how to organize, you're probably not going to be the one organizing. But when you're in a small town, you're the guy.
Yeah, you're wearing the hats.
And it's like if you don't learn how to organize, you know, there's a way that this stuff happens. And more to that like sort of folk festival, and that's like the beautiful festival. I'm so happy that it's happening in Jackson. It's happening in Jackson for the next 2 years, and got exposed to so much beautiful music I'd never even heard of before. Genres.
And everything was free.
Everything was free. It was just really well done.
To the public, and it was good. Like it felt like a Jubilee jam.
You know, but also then kind of can't help compare and contrast how Knoxville does this with Big Ears, and it's like they have a lot more people, a lot more money, a lot more organization. So there's players in town, there's organizers in town to help and to fall into.
There are volunteers.
There's volunteers coming all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think also like the remarkable like nature, the sort of novel nature of the festival itself brings people from all over the world. Yeah. It's not just a local thing. And so I think we have to cross pollinate. I think we need people from all over the world coming to our places, coming to our small towns. I think we need that. I think that's a big part of moving a community forward and bringing a community into, you know, this dialogue that's already happening. Like getting, you've heard this phrase about like putting some place on the map. It's like being literally on the map for free improvisational music in Jackson, Mississippi. I don't know if you know this. You ever been to a place called Utah, Alabama?
Yeah, it's just south of here.
We're just south of here, right?
Yeah.
It's about
30 minutes.
Home to the late Davy Williams, who was this
They got some
improviser.
great murals about down there, buddy.
Yeah. Davy was this improviser, guitarist, and he would go to New York and play, and he is like, he was this powerhouse of that music, and so people all over the world who know about this music know about him. He would say, I'm assuming he would say similar things. Like, I'm reading his book right now, and it's all about like all the things. It's called Solo Gig, and it's all about all the things he's learned as a solo player in these improvised music settings. But he's a folk musician. He calls this music. He doesn't call it free jazz like a lot of people do. He calls it eccentric folk music, and it's got a lot more in common with just the sort of approach to like folk art being the genuine art coming from the people, and taking a guitar and fucking it up, or like a diddly bow is like the best example I could think of. That's improvised music, right?
My mind kind of goes to the Jack White documentary, This Might Get Loud, to where he took the piece of wood, a nail, and just a steel string.
Exactly.
It's
that
like,
kind of thing.
yeah, we're about to make some
That kind of
noise.
thing. That's
sounds.
improvisation, and that's experimentation in music. That's a really important thing, and that's not uniquely, but very Southern. And I think there's something to that scarcity thing I was talking about, when you're in a small place and
They
you're
can do with
bored.
what you got. Yeah.
Being bored is a really incredible thing.
You have to create your own fun.
You do. Yeah. You should be bored more often, because when you're a creative person, you get bored, you make stuff. That's important. Don't fill your time with a bunch of outside BS. Like, just do your own thing, and make stuff.
Dig deep, find what you like.
Yeah.
Chris, who y'all met earlier, like I had him cracking up when we first he was one of the first people that come in when I reopened. This was a liquor store before, and I bought it, and then there was about a month lapse between the city made me wait a month before I reopened. They wanted to meet me, and the big thing, this was with the ABC as well, when I applied for my license, is Al Spirits and Music. The town was a little weirded out, not about the spirit part, but music. What do you?
Why are you combining the two?
Well, the two don't. I was like, the two
But
go.
the two do.
They belong together.
Yeah.
But he was one of the first people that walked in, and like I was getting to know him, and like we became friends. And like one thing that I always say that cracks him up is like, I'm pretty good at the Irish goodbye. It's not just the red hair, but like he'll catch me like leaving, and he was like, "What's up?" I was like, "I have to make." I'm not talking about going to the bathroom or anything like that. I was like, I'm bored. I'm about to go somewhere where I can make something.
Yeah.
I need to create something.
Yeah.
Like there's something in my head, and I've got to get it out.
I love that, and I love the name Spirits. The root word spirit is Latin for breathe, or to breathe. That's all that means. So I'm reminded of that Andy Griffith episode where the Darlings, and the father Darlin, I can't remember his name, but he blows on the jug.
Yeah.
He said, "You got time to breathe. You got time for music.
That's just it.
You got time for spirit. You got time for music."
That's just it. Well, guys, I wanted to spend a little time talking about y'all's sound, and like I'm sure it's ever changing, but golly, what a unique experience it was, and I really appreciate y'all sharing that. You'll catch, if you're watching the video version of this, you'll have to go to the Closed on Sundays portion on our YouTube page, or you can go to Instagram to catch that. But catch their live set. It's a lot of ambience. There's a lot of ways I could describe it, but I would rather, I guess, y'all describe it.
Yeah.
I mean, how did y'all take me to the early points of? I mean, you're stained glass, and you write poetry, and then music can kind of.
Yeah. It all. I guess, kind of during COVID, I started messing around with the guitar because I was bored. And like learning.
You had to make.
Yeah, I needed to do something different. I was like, yeah, painting is cool, but I was kind of getting a little bored with it, and I had been painting at the Wolf Studio, doing ceramics with my mom, and we both got a little burnout with that too because we were both like painting ceramic birds in our garage that was very small, a single car garage that my parents' studio is in. And so yeah, I guess I just was like locking myself in my room and just learning songs that I liked. Wasn't really taking it seriously at all. And
What were those influences?
Boy Genius was a big one, which
I would think a modern one, and you may or may not be, but I kind of hear some Waxahachie.
Yeah, now there's I started getting into Waxahachie around then, yeah, and Angel Olsen, Grouper, and so I was just like making these little recordings in my truck. I would like go to the Greenwood Cemetery and like
kind of stuff I do.
Yeah, just like hanging out in the cemetery, recording some little demos. And
where else you gonna go in a small town? The cemetery.
It's quite a spot.
It's so pretty out there. Eudora Welty is buried out there, so I was hanging out with Eudora, recording these songs, and then Tyler and I started hanging out, and I like because I got a studio next door to his building, and so I was painting outside. It was COVID. So we were just like talking through the fence for a couple months, and then we were like, "Oh, okay, kindred spirit.
You make music. I make music.
We'll do the thing." But I wasn't making music, and then he heard it and really encouraged me to take it a little more seriously, and so I started like actually like digging deeper and writing my own songs and kind of pairing them with my paintings a little bit. And then 2024, like I had started playing gigs I played one show with my friend Heath, who's in a band with us now and like is one of our dearest friends. But I had like
was that something you felt like you needed to do, or did he kind of push you to do it?
Him?
No, like
Heath. No, I was asking. I was like, okay, what actually happened was, I was seeing Reed Smith, Rod Smoth, and Schaefer Yana play at Innival in Jackson.
Okay.
And I was like,
you caught the bug.
I want to see. I want to sing with them, but I can't sing with anybody if I'm not like out here actually doing my own thing. So let me do that first, and then everybody can be my friend.
Yeah, shout out Schaefer.
Shout out to Schaefer Yana.
Yeah, I love her.
And so yeah, I mean, like seeing them play so consistently and just always being blown away, I was like, okay, yeah, I feel like I maybe could do that. And so I threw an art show at Howlin' Mouse with my friend Roman Bird, and we showcased our paintings, and I got Schaefer to play and Reed, and I was like, well, I want to play too. And so but I was scared. I was so scared. I was scared to death. And Heath was like, okay, well, I'll learn some of your songs and like we can play them together. And that was really actually the only time that Heath and I like ever really did that. And I started playing solo gigs after that. And in 2024, I went to the Penland School of Craft to help a friend with a hand-drawn animation class, which I'm actually going to do again this summer, which I'm really excited about. And I was like, there's no music happening at the Penland School of Craft. You know, there's a nylon string guitar in the dining hall, but like nobody's really playing. So I put on a little show there that was really sweet, and I met some wonderful musicians who were there, who were like, oh yeah, we should be bringing this in too. And so like right after that, I came back home, and Tyler had been fooling around with the pedal steel that we had recently acquired, and he started like learning my songs while I was gone, and so we played a gig together.
Rocket ship, by the way. Yeah. I mean, you got so much going on.
Yeah.
I was learning how to drive that thing.
When he got it, I was like, ooh, I want to try it. Not my thing.
It's more like
I can't do
yeah.
it. It's like a forklift. And so yeah, he started learning my songs, and we started playing together, and it has just kind of evolved Sadbath started out as just
Why
like
Sadbath? Where'd that come from?
it started out as a genre because I was like, what kind of music am I making? Because this isn't. I don't truly identify with the singer songwriter title,
You're not, by the
and
way.
it doesn't it. I don't know. I don't want to say that it like I appreciate so many singer songwriters, but I don't truly identify with that. And it's not folk. It's not.
It's not.
It's not a lot of things. And so when I was trying to figure out what it was, is like this is like a mix between like a sound bath and like contemplative. Like, what are you listening to when you're taking a sad bath? When you're like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I need to just take a bath, and maybe when I get out, I'll feel better. Baptismal. We have a joke, and this is Easter Sunday, so it's a great day.
Shout out, everybody.
um, remember the sad bath and keep it holy.
Ooh.
That'll be a T-shirt.
We
That's-
like
it should be
play,
like
because we're in the South. You know, it's a kind of a play on words. And it just worked. And so when I was like, oh, this is like sad bath music. When I tell the sound guy what I want, I'm like, I want bathtub reverb. And
Excuse me.
the like because that's where I really started singing too, was like
You have
in
a nice tile room
bathrooms.
with the
Yeah.
reverb.
There was like the
Natural.
MSA dorm room bathroom that had like great acoustics. And I was just kind of like teaching myself to sing along to all kinds of songs that I've always loved singing, but only ever by myself in a car, in a bathroom, in a like stairwell. And so I was really scared to start just doing that. And I'm really glad that I got over it because it is like one of my favorite things. But
Many people do it, and I would highly encourage this. If y'all ever find yourselves down in South Alabama, like
Mhm.
around Fort Morgan, it's down there around Gulf Shores, there's an old fort. Wonderful
Oh,
acoustics.
yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
So
do it.
I could totally
Yeah.
I could totally see you
I
doing
kind of
something
have,
like that.
yeah, I've got like a small
Like people have
list
recorded
going.
like they recorded a song for their EP, and like, you know, that was
Yeah,
Yeah.
something that was like that
it's like
it
that
was there.
famous. It's
Yeah.
like the famous Pharaoh Sanders recording where he's in I guess it's some kind of covered walk area.
Yeah.
He's just playing his horns.
Yeah.
But sorry to interrupt.
No,
That's a good tip.
But-
you need to write that down.
Yeah, and I love incorporating like our recordings that are released. You know, they're not perfect studio recordings. They have the ambience of our building, and so there's like cicadas, and there's
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
some trains because we live right next to a train yard, and like all of those things are like that's what I'm hearing when I'm working. That's what I'm hearing when I'm writing and when I'm painting. And so like to have that baked into these recordings, like that is part of the work.
We
And
haven't even talked about the true natural sounds of the Deep South that are so inspiring to us too.
there's
Just the
music
natural
everywhere.
sounds, you know, cicadas are beautiful. Crickets, frogs
Mhm.
by a pond.
I
You
feel
know,
like
the
society
birds,
wants you to
the-
go, and like we have like so much stimulation with our phones, and like the act of just sitting out in a yard and not doing
Just
anything.
listening.
Like
Well, you're writing the correct music for that because, like, I mean, like it was just I was sitting in this chair on the other side of the camera, guys, and like I had to get up and get on a stool because I was kind of being like lulled,
mhm,
you know. I was like, okay, I gotta move.
yeah,
Like I might fall asleep.
and
You're like,
I
this
like
is
Nice.
yeah, and
We
I
love
know
that.
that
But
like
that's exactly what I thought. I was like, I'm at my pond and I'm fishing and the crickets are
Uh-huh.
chirping and I got sad bath on and I'm relaxing,
yes,
you know.
that's it's pond
There's
music.
a little crossover between that type of ambient music, if you will. We do make ambient music too, in addition to this project, pure instrumental stuff. And there's this interesting crossover between ambient music and the surrealist art movement and this concept of hypnagogia, where you're dozing off. There's a really interesting zone of creativity you can get into when you're just dozing off.
Mhm.
Or if like you're listening to stuff like this in headphones and you're just kind of like maybe reading a book and listening and just kind of pass out. I'll listen to our music, I'll listen to our mixes, and if I think like, something is like takes me out of that zone, then I'll go fix it.
Yeah, it could be as easy as one note.
It could, yeah. Well, as we found out earlier.
Yeah.
But Brian, talk about that ambient music should be as interesting as it is ignorable.
Yeah, it's just like the cicadas.
Just like the cicadas.
It's just background.
Yeah, if you're not
It's
paying
that
attention
train.
to
And when
them,
you
it's
pay
just,
attention
it's
to it, it's
there.
very interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on
Right.
with little, and so that's another like kind of philosophy around Sadbath is that like I'm not a trained guitar player.
Thank God.
I didn't ever take lessons.
Shouldn't be.
And I'm
And
not a
it's
trained
that,
pedal
like,
stealer.
I really do like just learning a little bit and seeing what I can do with it. And so like these simple chord progressions, like I love just finding a loop and playing that over and over again, and it gives me time to like focus on my vocals and the words, and it's just like I like creating a pad, and it's a lot like painting to me, where like I'll put this field of color down, and my paintings have a lot of repetition in them. I have a tendency to like get really busy, but the ones that I do try to practice more minimalism with, those end up being my favorites. And so yeah, with the busyness of society and like everyone's attention spans being like shot to hell and back, it's so refreshing when I go to a show and I see someone not feeling the need to use all the bells and whistles and to actually go someplace where like I want to hear how you're dealing with all of this. Like, yeah, relationship drama, cool. But like we're bombing Iran.
Yeah.
Like, how does that make you
Have
feel?
you went to the gas pump lately?
Yeah,
It's
that
affecting
shit was
you.
$4
Yeah.
a gallon in a tiny town.
Mhm.
Like, people are gonna have to choose between a loaf of bread and a gallon of gas right now.
Mhm.
And like, shit is hard, and there's like I do not feel the need to fake it like it's not, and because I like it when people are honest with me, and so I just like I'm kind of honest to a fault, can't help it.
I know.
And
I'm the same way. Like, matter of
Yeah.
fact, like, if you, all my prices on the shelf, that's after tax. Like, everything is like, if you get one, that's where it's gonna be when you get right there.
nice.
I do that for two
Built
reasons.
in.
I do that for two reasons. Is like a lot of people that if they come in, they're cash apping and like, or they're on the phone with somebody, and okay, they might be doing some illegal stuff. I don't know. I'm not concerned.
None of my business.
It's not my business, but it's like I like going in a place and being like, oh, that's $13, and then it's
It's actually $13. Yeah, where can you do that?
but
Here.
like, and that's the honesty of it. But like, one thing I've learned, and I burnt through a lot of my tags, is because since all this came down, and we've been going through it for what, a month and a half,
Yeah.
is well, it affects my beer more than anything. Like, liquor and wine's pretty stable, but beer, price changes. Ooh, they're going up.
Yeah.
They change. They
Our
move.
coffee that we buy went from $13
And
for a
the
whole
service
week.
charge just to have that delivered, and then like people,
Yeah.
like, I mean, like you're saying, I'm in a small town. There's not a lot of money here,
Mhm.
and so like when they're getting their gas and they're coming here, look, like I'm paying more for the truck to have it delivered here, and I'm offering you a convenience, and I'm not trying to bend you over, man, but like I'm getting bent over too,
Yeah.
and it gets passed down,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like it either.
No.
I want to be the cheapest in town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pride myself on it.
Yeah.
But it's tough.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing that we're talking about needs to be in your art or in your music. You can't escape this stuff. It's like, if I hear one more song about someone's boyfriend or whatever,
Yeah, thank you, Taylor.
there's just so much going on. And look, you can write a song about your partner, that's fine. But like if
Swift.
Yeah, I wouldn't call
not
you
Holly
Taylor.
Swift.
Yeah, I wouldn't call you Taylor, by the way.
Not me either.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you're it's
which I
just,
am a Taylor head.
it's just one of those things where you really just genuine expression is what we're starved for. And there's so much contrived bullshit, and there's so much fame humping, and there's so much maximalism that feels so detached from real life, and especially real life in the Deep South, especially. You know, some flashy auto tune does not relate to me if I'm from Mississippi. I'm sorry, like it just doesn't. And
Don't do nothing for you.
and
Yeah.
and you know
I want
that
to
type
hear.
of
I want to hear
overproduction.
mistakes. I want to hear the
We've gotten to. We were
human.
talking about this. We've gotten to where we want to hear mistakes in music, because with things like automation and AI and auto correction
get
and
it
all this,
perfect.
it's like
Yeah.
I want to hear that there's a human on the other side of
Mhm.
this. You know.
There's something beautiful.
And when you
about
listen
that.
to some of
Yeah.
those really incredible old Delta blues recordings that are just fucking raw. You know,
Okay.
there's this common phrase about cameras. Best camera is the one you have on you. I feel the same way about microphones. You know?
Dude, so that you know, the guy at the crossroads who sold his soul to the devil,
That's right.
which is
Oh, buddy.
what was his name? One of the most famous bluesmen. I mean,
Robert Johnson.
Robert Johnson is there's a
Or
very
Tommy Johnson, if you're going by the Brother We're Out There.
yeah, but very haunting recording. One of my favorite recordings they had was at the studio or whatever room they were in. It was raining,
Mhm.
and you could hear that rain,
Mhm.
and you could also hear the creaks, and you could hear. And I was like, it ain't even about the music anymore. It's about everything that's going. Like
Yeah.
it's all
Oh,
one
it's all
thing.
music.
Like how to transport someone with this craft.
Mhm.
You know, good art does that to a person. If you see a painting and you feel like you can walk into it, or that it just like truly speaks to you, like that is what I'm wanting to do. Is
You're getting
to
there.
pull on heartstrings, to convey all of the complicated, like how to be grateful for what you have and still acknowledge that there is so much suffering in the world that I can't do anything about. You know, like that is what I'm thinking about. And because I do, like, I love helping people and I love being a good host, and we love like expressing hospitality in the hospitality state.
I was saying,
You know,
you know, it's
and
like when I'm inviting y'all here, it's like I'm trying to like, you know, I want everything to be right. You know,
Mhm.
like I vacuum. You can't even tell my vacuum sucks, but I gotta go over it. I'm
Doesn't suck.
vacuuming and like I open up my cooler doors like because we can't run the air conditioner because it's loud. It's a window unit.
I see
And,
you blast. I
like,
noticed that you blasted the.
I opened up the cooler doors to like blast that cold air. I was like, we don't want them getting hot, you know.
It's mighty considerate of you.
And just doing it and like compensate everything. It's like I want to think of every little thing. It's like, what is one thing they're gonna call their other music friend and be like, don't mess with him, he sucks. You can't say that.
No,
Yeah.
we can't say that at all.
Yeah, and like when people from out of town experience that kind of hospitality, they're absolutely blown away because they're
Yeah.
just used to assholes in venues,
Yeah.
you know. And they'll get to our house and we're like, "Hey, are you like dietary restrictions or like are you vegan? Whatever, we'll make you a meal." They're just like, "What?"
Sunstroke House does that. I like when we do food options here for some of the shows. Like we haven't run into that yet, but like there's always like a vegan or a gluten-free option. And I was like, that's mindful, man.
It's
Yeah.
mindful. It's hospitable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was vegan for like 8 years.
It
I
shows
think
people
it's
that you
crazy.
care.
It's
And,
hard to
there's,
do
and there's a
so.
lot of autoimmune like disorders now that are popping up, and like sometimes
Yeah.
the food will trigger it. I mean, there's a lot of
Right,
things
yeah,
you have to be
you just
aware
can't
of.
assume, and it's like, you know, just be hospitable to people, man. If someone's in a wheelchair, like, you know, have a ramp
Yeah.
or whatever, like, just be
Absolutely.
hospitable.
That's what I got that rant for.
Perfect. That's what made me think of it.
But yeah, guys, let's. I'd love to have y'all again. I feel like I could pick either one of y'all's brains about the arts. And
There's so much we haven't even touched
for
on.
I know we didn't even get into PBS. So we'll do 3 more. I would like to plug that.
Yeah,
Sure.
we've got
Yeah.
lots of things. Here, you.
Do you want to? I'll plug Ambient Film, and you can plug anything else.
Get it.
So we have a project that Lucy and I have played on a lot. I've played on it a lot. I'm an executive producer of this TV show called Ambient Film, and it airs on PBS. And it's effectively just nature footage set to instrumental music that we create. And Lucy's on a few episodes. I'm on a few episodes. Our band Hospitality State is on a few episodes. And it's just this beautiful thing. The director and creator of the project Robbie Pianzanita is an old friend of mine. He does a lot of my music videos for my solo project, Spirituals. Um, but yeah, Ambient Film has a season 2 coming out on April 20th.
How far?
On PBS. It should be
It's gorgeous.
in all of the PBS apps
It's
and
so
all that.
pretty.
Like if you have like a Roku app or whatnot, it'll be there. 30-minute episodes on PBS, but if you go to our YouTube, there'll be hour-long episodes there.
Hour long, improvised in one. Like we
Right.
kind of make a pad and then keep going back over it. Like
Nothing automated, nothing AI. All of the music is original, live, scored, improvised in the moment.
with
So,
zero budget.
With zero budget. We
Pretty
sit
impressive.
down and we hit record on like 3 or 4 instruments, and then we'll go back and maybe do a few more passes depending on what's on the screen.
Sure.
One thing that's important for us is the nature that you're seeing on the screen matches the audio, so we'll sort of personify instruments to be different things that you're seeing. If there's trees, you might hear a wooden marimba, things like that.
Sure.
I'm on all the water episodes.
Lucy's
And if
voice
it's water, you're gonna hear
is
Donkey Kong
water.
Country.
Yeah, that's right.
Water. You remember those?
The underwater Donkey Kong episode was a huge
very
inspiration.
ambient.
But yeah, like Lucy's voice being reverb drenched is like the sort of personification of all the great bodies of water. So
Sadbath.
she's on the river episode. That's the Ho River and the Olympic coastline episode. And there's some really interesting stuff. So
Yeah.
be on the lookout for
That
that
is-
April 20th.
That's all really gorgeous and has definitely impacted the way that Sadbath sounds.
100%. Yeah.
Because I mean we're tracking hours of ambient music, and so and with this group Hospitality State, which we also this year we've released a recording for Hospitality State. There's an album out that's 5 of us. It's me and Tyler and Heath Walt on guitar, Philip Blackwell on bass and synth, and then Bruce Golden on percussion. And we went to Jerry's Catfish in Florence, Mississippi.
The Igloo,
The Igloo, not the big one.
not the other one.
And yeah, gorged ourselves on an embarrassing amount of catfish, and then the next day just had an afternoon of just making music, and this record is just an afternoon of improvising, and we have way too much fun. We're like giggling at the end of some of those
Yeah.
songs. So
Oh, did you leave it in there?
yeah, of course.
Yes.
You can't
There's
take
one
it out.
track-
There's no.
There's one track that I think we called like, what was it called? Rumble.
Yeah, because it was raining.
It was raining and we're recording. We hit record,
Mhm.
and there was a few like lightning punches that
Yeah.
like cracked the mics, for a
Oh,
second, and it made it into the recording. It's,
Yeah.
it's
So there's
beautiful.
like that. I have some vocals on it, and a lot of times it's just tonal or like crazy vocoder stuff because I like to play around with the sound. But any lyrics that are in it are improvised lyrics, and so the album is called "The Rain Today It Keeps Me Going," and that was just like something that happened because it was raining outside. We were all so excited to be playing together. So that is a recording that I'm really, really happy with and am so grateful that I get to do. And we
we're-
also Sadbath released an EP around the same time that's 3 songs. One
Got it.
of which we played, Eye in the Light, is on that one.
Available everywhere.
Available everywhere.
available everywhere. And,
It's even on Deezer.
if you
and
have
Tidal.
Deezer.
Yeah.
We'll put some
Um,
blogs into the description for that. We'll put the PBS.
Yeah.
Is that pluggable?
Yeah, it's like
Well, it'll be coming out on the 20th.
yeah,
Mhm.
and
So, yeah. It's
the
already-
Hospitality State music to me it sort of represents a thing that happens at our place, which is like we improvise a lot. Typically
Great name, by the way.
every week we get together and we do this, but also we host different shows and things. So
Yeah.
I created a sort of imprint for all of this music called Hospitality Tapes. So hospitalitytapes.bandcamp.com is going to be where you're going to find all these recordings coming from our band, but also other groups and pairings and groupings of people.
Things that happen in our
Yeah, we
building.
may do some experimental style recordings, just the 2 of us, and release it there.
I've got a
Yes.
website rolling out, and I want to probably drop some hyperlinks and probably plug that in. It's called coolshit.com. I'm owning that domain. It's KUHL. But like that's the kind of cool shit. Like I
Yeah,
would
that's
like
cool
to be
shit.
telling people
Yeah.
about.
Yeah,
Totally,
I think it's really cool
It's pretty cool
shit.
shit.
And definitely, pretty singular. I mean that exists because that whole group went to Big Ears together last year.
Yeah.
We got home and we were like, shit, we
We're
need to
not-
get to work.
Yeah, there's this meme of Ron Carter, the bassist, just pointing at the camera, and it says, "You need to practice."
Get to
It's like, I
work.
feel
Get
that
to work.
every day.
Yeah,
So
Guys, I feel like that's the perfect place to sign off.
get to work.
We have got to get together again. I really enjoyed this.
I know.
yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
We got y'all have a
Thanks.
great drive back to Jackson,
Mhm.
and we'll be signing out. Thank you so much for listening to Porch Talk, and follow Sadbath and Hospitality State.
Subscribe.